we go.
Hello, my name is Paul Carnett. I'm a former professor of chemistry. My speciality was environmental chemistry and toxicology. I retired in 2006, but for 16 years I've been researching the issue of fluoride's toxicity and the dangers of water fluoridation. And with two other scientists, James Beck, PhD MD from Calgary, and Spedding Micklem, a biologist with a PhD from Oxford, we wrote a book. It's called The Case Against Fluoride. Every argument is documented, 80 pages of references. But if you go to our webpage, fluoridealert.org, make sure you spell fluoride right, F-L-U-O-R-I-D-E, alert.org. If you look for videos, you will see a video called Professional Perspectives on Water Fluoridation. And here we have 15 top-notch scientists. I do mean top-notch. There's a Nobel Prize winning neuropharmacologist, Arvid Carlsson, who led the fight against fluoridation in Sweden in the 70s, successful. Sir Ian Chalmers, 3 members of the National Research Council who reviewed this topic, 2 former employees of the EPA, former dentists, doctors, and so on, and myself, all explaining in common sense language why fluoridation is a bad idea. So let me explain why it's a bad idea. First of all, putting medicine in the water is a silly thing to do, because what everybody knows about a medicine is that you have to control the dose and you have to control who gets it. You can't give one medicine to everybody. It's crazy. When you put fluoride in the water, you can't control the dose, and some people drink a lot of water, and you can't control who gets it. It goes to everybody. It goes to bottle-fed infants, it goes to young children, it goes to people that are sick, it goes to people with poor nutrition, it goes to elderly people, and particularly problematic for fluoridation, it goes to people with poor kidney function. And if you've got poor kidney function, you can't get rid of it. Now, the evidence that it actually works to reduce tooth decay is very weak indeed. There is no single reaction in the body, no biological process that needs fluoride. But there are many processes which are damaged by fluoride given a high enough concentration. It inhibits enzymes and so on. Even the promoters of fluoridation now admit, Center for Disease Control, 1999, that fluoride, the predominant action of fluoride is topical, works on the outside of the teeth. Well, once you hear that it works on the outside of the teeth and not from inside the body, it makes nonsense to swallow this stuff. You're exposing every tissue in the body to a known toxic substance, when if you want fluoride, and I don't, but if you want fluoride, brush it on your teeth using fluoridated toothpaste and spit it out. This way you avoid exposing every tissue in the body to a known toxic substance, and you avoid exposing people that don't want it. And what annoys me here is you've got Health Canada, Arlene King, the Chief Medical Officer of Ontario, and Peter Cooney, the Chief Dental Officer of Canada, telling people that this is safe and effective, and yet they don't have the courage of their convictions to go out on a public platform and debate it. They can only take advantage of solo performances in front of city councils. This is a massive betrayal of the public's trust. The science is on our side, but most people are totally unaware of that. So what we've got going right now in Toronto, we've got a group formed, and it's been greatly stimulated over the last few days, Fluoride-Free Toronto, and we've got to win this one ward at a time. So we want a group in each ward. Fluoride-Free Toronto Ward 1, Fluoride-Free Toronto Ward 2. Get the citizens to organize their friends and neighbors, go door to door and get hundreds of emails to these councillors and say, we want this out of the water. Definitely want this out of the water. But if you want to persuade us that it's a good idea, if you've got experts who persuaded you that it's safe and effective, then get those experts at a public forum in Toronto, and let's have a full debate on this, where we hear both sides at the same time. And you can hear both sides, because you councillors are only hearing one side. That's the kind of thing that we can do, and at the very minimum that we should demand is that parents should be warned not to use fluoridated tap water to make up baby formula. Now, let me explain why.
That's a big one.
The level of fluoride in mother's milk is 0.004 parts per million. A new fluoridate in Ontario at 0.7 parts per million. That means that a bottle-fed baby in Toronto is getting 175 times more fluoride than a breastfed baby. And this is outrageous. If parents want to take that gamble with their children, then they should know that they're taking a gamble. They're not being told this, nor are they being told that there are 26 published studies from India, China, Iran, and Mexico which shows a lowering of IQ associated with modest exposure to fluoride. They're doing none of these studies in Canada. There's been practically no health studies. And what we're getting from health officials in Canada on this issue is sheer propaganda. Sheer propaganda. And I was so frustrated. I thought this was going to be easy. When my wife asked me to look into this 16 years ago, on the very day that I read the first bits of literature, I said to her, walking to the village council, I said, dear, this is gonna be easy. I said, when the council hears what I've read this afternoon, there's no way that they're gonna continue to do this. It took us 7.5 years to get it out of our little village. 7.5 years. And when I was at that meeting, the people in the audience were saying things like, oh, I'm not a scientist, but my dentist tells me it's okay. And if my dentist tells me it's okay, that's all right by me. And then other people saying, oh, if it wasn't safe, my doctor wouldn't tell me to do it. My doctor tells me it's okay, so I'm going along with it.
Okay,
After the meeting, I went up to the doctor in question. I said, would you read these 3 papers? These are 3 I read that afternoon. And he said, I don't have time to do that. I said, well, that's not very responsible. I said, you just heard these people saying that they're going along with this because you told them it's safe. Well, I don't have time to read up on every issue that comes across my desk. I said, I can understand that, but you shouldn't let these citizens think that you have studied this literature and it's your professional judgment that it's okay. And
so what do you do if you go to a dentist and you're getting your teeth clean? Well, what would you recommend a person to do in that circumstance if they're using fluorinated products only?
Well, what I would suggest to them is that they get a copy. They can make a copy from the internet. Get a copy of the professional videotape, professional perspectives on water fluoridation, and give it to the dentist. So it's only 28 minutes long. You look at it and you tell me if I should have fluoride. I think there's a better argument for topical treatment than for swallowing it.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to swallow it, and that's inevitable if you put it in the water.
So what do you think about, say, for example, mouthwashes? I mean,
no, crazy.
Okay.
It's very dangerous because
so non-fluorinated.
Mouthwashes about 500 parts per million fluoride. They taste nice. You're inviting people to swallow it. In the same way, it's absolutely criminal, in my view, to make fluoridated toothpaste bubblegum flavor, banana flavor, strawberry flavor. You're encouraging those children to swallow that stuff.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Know, on the back, go and look at the back of a tube of toothpaste. There's a warning there. It says only use the recommended amount, which is a pea-sized amount.
Right.
If you should accidentally swallow more than the recommended amount, get medical help or contact a poison control center. Now, a pea-sized amount of toothpaste, 1,000 parts per million toothpaste, is 1/4 milligram of fluoride. That's the same as 1 glass of water of fluoridated tap water. So on one hand, you're saying, drink this, drink 2 liters of this, drink 3 liters of this, but on the other hand, the equivalent of a glass of water, you say go and contact a poison control center. This is crazy.
Doesn't make sense.
This is Monty Python in action.
All
and
right.
It's your health authorities.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to, show the logo.
Yes. That stands for Canadians Opposed to Fluoridation. There are citizens all over Canada right now that are trying to get this out of their communities. The good news, in the last 18 months since Waterloo, voted it out on October the 25th, 2010. Over 40 communities have stopped. Many of them in Canada, and a number in the United States, and 2 in New Zealand. Total population, 3.5 million people. So 3.5 million people have been liberated in the last 18 months from fluoridation, and we need more. We need to, if we can get fluoride out of Toronto,
100%.
it will be the end of Canada and possibly the end of fluoridation.